Greetings, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. It's me, Dr. Moore, your researcher, advocate, consultant, and educator for all things well. And tonight, I am going to talk about dreaming, manifesting. I know that this is something, again, this is a topic that I am asked about a lot as a clinician, um, who also believes in spiritual wellness and also believes in the power of or the laws of attraction, and knowing that we have the ability to bring into our world, our reality, whatever it is we wish to bring in. So I'm going to talk about that tonight. I know that this is still a very developing channel. This is still something that is creating new energy and new vibrations. So I welcome you all that are on your way, and I also welcome and thank you all for sharing. Ooh, those nails are super bright on camera. But I also welcome you all for sharing in advance. And I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So I want to also say, for this, after this live, if you're really interested and you want to learn more about any of the topics that I've discussed here, or any of the topics that relates to wellness, whether it be physical, spiritual, emotional, psychological, because those are two different states, right? Just reach out to me. I can be reached at the website, welcomewell.net. You can also leave a comment here. You can subscribe. You can do a whole lot of things. So thank you in advance. And let's just go ahead and get started. So for today's topic, I've been really thinking about this specifically because I had a really interesting experience last night going into the day. Through a dream, and I'll talk a little bit more specifically about the dream once we get into this. But dreams are at the center of what we wish to make come true, right? May your dreams come true, wishing upon a star, and all of these things that seem to be very external to our internal experiences or just our interpretations of things. So tonight, in alignment with the Focus February, I do want to talk about ways that our dreams are manifesting, that our dreams are manifestations, how we can manifest through the power of our dreams. So let me talk a little bit about what dreams are, right? As a trained researcher, clinician, in the field of psychology and counseling and biology and all these awesome things, science, right? Science and art. We learn about dreams through philosophical manuscripts from Aristotle. We also, within the field of psychology, learn about dreams through Freud, Jung, just understanding shadows, and even in the spiritual world, we may understand the dreams from our text, our spiritual text, and it's something that is what connects all of us as human beings to being human beings. Being able to dream is the one thing that everybody has in common. One of the things that everybody has in common. Everybody being the physical human body have in common. And I know I get it all the time. Dr. Moore, I don't dream. Okay. Of course you dream. You may not recall your dreams, but dreams are something that we all have in common. A lot of times we don't recall them because we haven't been trained to, or maybe we've experienced nightmares, and so we don't want to, we wish away all of the things we don't want. Or, maybe we're under a lot of stress, and so as a way to protect our bodies or protect, our waking experiences, we forget or we're not able to actively recall our dreams. However, give it some more time and you may begin to recall your dreams, or even utilize your dreams for specific things that you want for yourself. So I do have some notes here, so if you see me looking down, it's just because I'm looking at my notes. But so sleeping dreams, you know dreams, they really represent what we want out of this life, because it's our subconscious mind taking over. I'll share a story. When I was younger, I really, really used to think, because I have very, very vivid dreams, very dynamic dreams. And when I was younger, I used to believe that my dreams were messages sent from God, right? I was always told, if you want to talk to God, you just have to, and this is that was the origin of my spirituality, was God. Um, I know everyone has different ones, but mine is God. And so it was, if you want to talk to if you want to be understood, you can just pray and talk to God, and God will listen. And so as a kid, I used to think, well, if God can hear me through prayer, then God can see me when I'm sleeping. So I must be able to connect or talk to God while I'm sleeping. Okay, that was just what I believed. That was like 4 or 5 year old me, up until like 6, 7 year old me. And when it became 8, 9, 10 year old me, it was like, oh no, this is very different. And I'll explain that in a moment. So, our sleeping dreams are really, they can they have traditionally been also experienced or said to believe to be something that are more supernatural, something that takes place as an ability of the human body to connect with the spirit body as a means to solving riddles and figuring out what's the biggest meaning for self. But I actually, with sleep is representative of rest. So when we're sleeping, it's not just our physical body that's sleeping, but it's also to assist our conscious state to go to bed, right? Our conscious state to rest. So when we sleep, we are resting, and we're not resting just physically, we're resting consciously, right? So that first one of the layers of our mental capacity is to think, right? Our conscious state allows us to think um, in our reality. We perceive, right? And a lot of times it's really, really good to put that conscious state to rest, because we're putting our perceptions to rest. And sometimes our perceptions may hold stress. So we're able to put our stress to rest. And our consciousness is a state of understanding, it's a state of realizing something. And when we're sleeping, we're able to then activate our subconscious state. And our subconscious state is wild. Okay, our subconscious state are all the things that we experience every single day, every single moment, that we try to forget, right? Because either one, we're too tired, two, we don't have the faculties at the time to really focus on this bird humming when I'm in fast moving traffic, right? We may not fully be aware that it's something that actually is happening, because we may be too preoccupied with things that have not occurred yet, or with things that have happened, right? A breakup, something, something that we, hi Lauren, something that we can't always just, we don't want to let go of, but we're not fully aware of how to release, right? In those conscious states. So our subconscious is something that really is there to promote us into just organizing our wants from our current reality. So sleep. Um, One great way to tap into subconsciousness is through sleep. And I'm going to talk about I think it's like 5 or 6 different types of dreams, which we can really support the tapping into our subconscious states. There is another element of daydreaming. Now, as a researcher, right, and an educator and all that other fun stuff, I don't know too much about daydreams. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I do. I know that they occur. I know that it's like in between a waking state and a sleeping state. So it could even be like a trance or a meditative state. It's something that we can access at any point in time. I know that people experience daydreams. I know it's something that we can activate, but in terms of using daydreams as a subconscious activation, I'm not too clear on, but give me some time and maybe I'll maybe I'll look a little bit into it. So okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about a dream that I had, and then we're going to get really into this. So, last night, the reason why I want to do this topic for Focus February and really talking about dreams and using our dreams to manifest our reality is because this dream left me so. In a way this morning for a moment, and I'm going to just tell you a little bit about what I wrote down and then we'll go from there. So last night in my dream, I'm walking down like the lakefront. I live in Chicago. I live near the lake, or not near the lake, but I'm in Chicago. And I'm walking along one of the lakefront paths and I see a whole bunch of people like in the lake. And by this part of the lake, Chicago's lake has various like, yes, you can swim here. No, you can't swim there. Oh my God, please do not go over here. Right. And it's because of different rocks and sediments that the lake has. So in my dream, as I'm walking, I'm seeing people like jumping into the different levels of the lake and really enjoying themselves. It's a nice, beautiful summer day. And I felt the sun, it felt very nice and warming and comforting. As I'm looking, I have an older sister, and my older sister jumps into the lake. But the part she jumps into has rocks right underneath. So she doesn't necessarily like hurt herself, but she kind of gets up and does it again. This time she falls like in the same spot, but she goes deeper into like I guess a more she goes into a place that's deeper, and she kind of falls a little bit. Now my sister in real life is an excellent swimmer, but this time she was not swimming well. So my son jumps into the water to save her, and he saves her. Then I'm walking still like by the lake, and it's starting to get a little dark, but not super dark. It's still light outside. All of a sudden, someone says to me, they need to find a way. They don't explain more of what that way is. They just say they need to find a way. Can I help them? Okay, sure. So I go in and I go to help them. And next thing I realize, they're digging up graves. I don't see any people. I don't see any like caskets or anything like that. I just see the tombstone. And these are like various mounds um of land. The grass is beautiful. There's trees. It looks like a perfect like Chicago. If you know Chicago, it looks like a perfect Chicago lakefront park type way. There's no benches, there's no like garbage cans, there's no cars, there's none of that. It's just water, grass, trees. That's it. And so we're by this huge tree, and I'm helping this person, this guy, dig up graves, but he's only looking for the tombstones that are hidden by the grass. Um, and I woke up, I wasn't feeling, and this is the dream's over. Okay. So I woke up and I'm not feeling scared. I used to have very, very drastic, dramatic nightmares and night terrors and all types of things as a child. So at this point in my 30 something, I'm not afraid of the boogeyman, right? The boogeyman is probably more afraid of me these days. But I wake up and I'm just like, that was interesting. And I write down as much as I can and kind of go about my day. But there's something about this this tone of the graves that I needed to understand. So I have tons of different like dream interpretation books. I even have old school Freud books, where it's like it's literally taped together and you have to be very careful opening the pages, otherwise it's gonna just absolve into dust or something. And so I went through and I looked up, and I was a little worried because I've never experienced having a dream about graves. However, I'm not afraid of the death dreams and the funeral dreams. I used to have those a lot as a kid when there was certain situations. So I figured maybe I'm changing. Maybe things are transforming around me. Maybe there is something that is coming and I need to be more aware of. I listen to my dreams. I listen to myself. I use them as motivators and guides in this current world. So when I looked up what the dream meant, it was really about, processing emotions, right? There is a process to my emotions, which is why the water was there. It wasn't rocky, it wasn't shaky, it was actually very nice, calm water, which I was kind of confused as to why my sister was falling in this water and not swimming well. Um, and, there's also with everything that I'm doing as far as adventures, I'm just going to share, as far as different adventures that I'm going on now, there is a fear that I have of being noticed. I'm not a very like, hey, look at me type of flashy girl. I know it probably, with the bright nails and the bright lipstick and you probably would think otherwise, but it's true. I'm very like, I like to look a certain way, but I'm not doing a lot of like, oh, let's just try this wild, crazy thing. I do, I really want to, but I just don't. And so I think part of that uncovering, that digging up was like, show yourself, don't be afraid to show yourself. And ultimately, the dream is good luck, is prosperity. The mounds of the earth, that were not broken or damaged, it shows like good fruitfulness, good prosperity. As I stated, the water is all about emotions, and so being able to process my emotions. And yeah, I'll be honest, me and my sister are going through some things, so maybe I need to process some of my emotions with her. And really just being able to see this dream as a message for myself. There's some other things that I won't get too much into here, but there are some things that I was able to really uncover with this dream that I had not been being honest with myself about. And I want to read a quote because I think it's really relevant to um, what we will be getting into with this Focus February and manifesting our dreams, literally manifesting our dreams. This comes from one of those old books, right? So here it is, Sigmund Freud, The Interpretation of Dreams. And this was, I think, from like, don't give me the lie, but it was from the 65. So this is from 1965. What a year, right? And this quote says, in dreams, daily life, with its labors and pleasures, its joys and pains, it's never repeated. On the contrary, dreams have as their very aim to free us from it, even when our whole mind has been filled with something. When we are torn by some deep sorrow, or when all our intellectual power is absorbed in some problem, a dream will do no more than enter into the tone of our mood and represent reality and symbols. Bam, right? Um, so our dreams are literal representations of what we are experiencing and or what we want to experience. So there are different types of dreams that we can experience, and it really just depends on what our um what our awareness is at the time. And it doesn't have to be the time like tonight, February 15th, 2021. It can be the time of February, it can be the time of 2021, it can be the time of being a middle-aged adult, being a young adult, being it can be the time at which you feel is your most present conscious state. And when we're at a peril or a time of conflict, what happens is our conscious state almost gets trapped in this like feedback loop, which is why it's so important for us to have rest. As I was stating, rest is not just putting your body to sleep to calm and relax and rejuvenate. It's also for your subconscious to be awakened. And your subconscious are where your dreams go to live. Subconscious is where the things that you feel are way too far out of reach for you, they become a reality. And I'm just going to read, since we're on a live, like I don't have to do all of this. um yeah. Good. I wish I could have some chocolate covered strawberries right now. That sounds really delicious, actually. Are they milk chocolate? Because I love milk chocolate strawberries. Anyway, um, the type of awareness that we want to have from our subconscious is really able to be accessed through our conscious state prior to sleeping states. And allowing ourselves to understand that sometimes, if not sometimes, dark is good too, though, Lauren. Um, but sometimes our perception is our stress. If we're constantly in this conscious state, if we're constantly thinking only about, what's happening right now, why is it happening, what could I have done, this and this and that, and we're not allowing that conscious state, we're not allowing ourselves to be removed from that conscious state into a more observant state, then we're just in this feedback loop of going through and trying to figure out, and we're hitting our heads against the wall. We have our subconscious state to allow that alleviation, to allow rest, to allow the answers. If you want to figure something out, I'm trying to tell you, and we'll get into it in a moment. If you want to figure something out, all you have to do is go to sleep. Like let's be honest. Have you ever had a really, really stressful day, or a day that was full of maybe negative or draining conscious perceptions, conscious realities, conscious ahas, right? Like all these aha moments. And they don't necessarily have to be negative. It's just that type of processing is draining. If you've ever just taken a quick nap, just close your eyes for a minute and dreamed of the white sandy beaches of wherever, right? Or imagined what it's going to be like when you get to this place to hug, or take a sip of wine, or have some dark chocolate covered strawberries. What does that do to that state? It's at rest, right? Even if you just kind of close your eyes and visualize being better than what you are right now for 3 to 5 minutes, those 3 to 5 minutes feels like 30 to 50 hours sometimes, because it just puts you in a state of, oh, right? Thanks, subconscious. Now, there are times when we have to really work at finding our subconscious because our conscious mind is so active, but it's so necessary for us to get the rest during sleep, and for us to activate our sleeping wants through our current realities. Okay, so how do we create the solutions that we need for manifestation? Quite simple. Maybe we have to set aside very specific time, very specific um, activities, so that we support the subconscious in coming through. That means that prior to falling asleep at night, or even if you don't sleep at night, because we all have different schedules, but whenever your sleep schedule is, even if it's for a nap, making sure that your mind is as clear as possible. Sometimes we may think we're not able to do this because of different schedules and things of that nature, but sleep is just as important as your schedule for work, for working out, for a date night. for dinner, whatever it is. Like, you need to put yourself on a sleep schedule, which means you're not just, I'm tired, gonna go lay down. If you're tired, recognize that and try to give yourself like 5 to 10 minutes. Meaning, you have a routine, you have a ritual of cleaning your body, even if that's washing your hands, rinsing your face, brushing your teeth, changing your clothes, just something so that your conscious self is saying, aha, I'm getting ready to rest, or I'm getting ready to change something. And when your conscious state is able to say change is coming, it almost is like passing the baton to your subconscious, right? And I used to run a lot and things of that nature. And so when you pass the baton, it's not like you just pass the baton and, that person is standing in front of you and you're kind of running up to them, you pass them the baton and you stop and then they go. That's not how it works. As you're passing the baton on, right? So you're coming in this way, the person is here. As they see you coming, they're gonna go, but they're not sprinting. They're just going just enough until you catch up, you pass it, they take it on, and then you slowly transition out of stopping. What happens when we just kind of lay down and pass out is that, yeah, we may not be activating our subconscious awareness to give us insight and answers into the things that we're seeking in our current moment. When we just kind of, here you go and we stop, we're not necessarily allowing the conscious state to slow down and kind of prepare itself for the next conscious moment. And we're not fully allowing our subconscious state to, become aware of what is going on and where they need to go. So when we're in this process of dreaming, it's important to have that as a key element. That going from one place to the next is in need of a transition. So let's talk a little bit about the different types of dreams. The first dream that I want to talk about is nightmares. And I'm just going to get it out there because I know that is like the worst type of dream for some of us. As I explained, when I was younger, I used to have terrible nightmares, and they were so vivid. And I recall even some of them to this day, where I would wake up sweating, heart beating fast. All the lights in the house have to be on. Plus, I'm getting into bed with somebody if I can. Plus, I'm getting under the covers. Plus, I'm like probably not going to sleep, and I need to watch all the cartoons on the television. Nightmares are really just they're in the mind of the dreamer. They're in the mind of our fears. Nightmares equal our fears, and it's our fears actualized, realized to the most heightened state that they could possibly be in, which is why oftentimes we have very vivid responses to them, where we're maybe waking up screaming, or our heart is racing, or we're sweating, or we even fall out the bed at times. And it's understanding the components of a nightmare that will really benefit you in taking that fear from your subconscious state, or excuse me, your fear from your conscious state, allowing it to be processed in your subconscious state so that when you reawaken to the conscious state, you're addressing it. And uncovering and addressing these problems really can contain them into solutions. I'm going to say like marketable solutions for our subconscious to then go back and say, oh, it's not that you're afraid of, the boogeyman. It's that you're afraid of being alone. And that makes sense, right? And maybe you can't address being alone or being isolated for the time, but there are little things that you can do in terms of recognizing, I'm just afraid of being alone, or I'm just afraid of the dark because it's the unknown, or I'm afraid of giant teeth because I'm intimidated by what I'm able to speak, right? So everything can be represented through the symbolisms that they come into our subconscious with. Recurring dreams, these are dreams that happen over and over and over again, and sometimes our recurrent dreams, it's the subconscious funny little way of saying, like, here's a puzzle for you to solve, because you are constantly thinking about it in your conscious state. And this perception is throwing off everything in your system. So when you go to sleep, it's like you're groundhog dang yourself. I'm thinking of the movie with Bill Murray. And this oftentimes, when things are constantly popping up, that's the subconscious way of saying, we need to heal this. Or we need to figure out a very plausible, hard, tangible solution for this. Otherwise, it's going to continue to be a riddle that is just going to be annoying over time. And we know this is true because once we have solved this riddle, once we have figured out what that thing is that's irritating us or deactivating us in terms of our manifesting, it just goes away. Like, as soon as you figure out that riddle, poof, that dream never comes back. But the dream could come back if you end up with that same situation again that you didn't address earlier. But the subconscious is nice, it's really nice at saying, if you do this thing for me, I'll do this thing for you. And once you do that thing for it, it really does take care of it. It takes care of it, it removes it, it's gone, and then you can live in bliss and happiness. um, healing dreams are indeed message dreams. Anytime you are dreaming of a sickness in your body, or it's something like hurting or breaking, please pay attention, because the body keeps score. The body never forgets what traumas it's endured, but because the body does not, like, we're protective, the brain and body works together, so we are constantly in protection mode, we're constantly in healing mode in so many levels, on so many levels. The body gets silenced, right? So why is it that when it rains, people with old sports injuries know that it's going to rain? Well, there's water, right? In rain. Rain is water. The body is mostly water and metals. And anytime something was hurt, right, it's almost like the water kind of rushes back to that point to say, hey, here's a chance to activate or deactivate. And the body keeps score in that way. And so until we're able to settle the score, it's going to continue to pop up. So anytime you have a dream of an injury, of sickness, it doesn't mean that that's going to be your injury or that's going to be your sickness, but it's definitely a message of saying, hey, there's something going wrong with us physically. And it could be something as simple as like the lack of sleep. It could be that you need to stretch more. It could be that you need to eat a certain type of thing. I had a dream a while ago, and I thought everything was well, but I did kind of go to sleep feeling a little thirsty. And like the dream I had, I was like in a desert and my body was almost like seizing up on itself. And I woke up and I was like, no problem. And I had like half a gallon of water. And when I went back to sleep, I was like, I don't know, doing something else. But the body will tell you very loudly, very clearly what it needs and what it's seeking. So listen. Then there are prophetic dreams, and prophetic dreams are also known as precognitive dreams. I guess in our modern day technology or modern day conversations, we know these as psychic dreams, but they're really precognitions. Neurologically speaking, there's a lot of research out there, but it's the knowing the tone of something prior to its actual doneness. It's knowing when something is going to happen before it actually happens. And it's not necessarily knowing like, oh, March 8th at 4:59 such and such is gonna. No, it's not always that precise. I can't speak and say that it isn't that precise because that's not my reality. But what I have What I do understand and what I do know about precognitions is that it's just a knowing of something before it happens. And this can be, it's not deja vu, because deja vu means again, right? Do again. So it's not a deja vu. It is something like maybe seeing someone show up in your dream that you haven't seen in years, and then all of a sudden you get a phone call from them saying they're going to stop by, coming from Australia, and they wanted to hang out, right? It can be something as simple as that. So then there's epic dreams, and epic dreams are epic and lucid dreams are like my best friends. The epic dream that I was kind of explaining just in brief detail earlier, it's really just a dream that can be in length. It could be in a variety of lengths, but it's in vivid detail. And when I say vivid detail, I mean almost like you can smell the water, you can taste the food, you can feel someone's touch, you can hear music playing. Like I heard a Lauryn Hill song that I've never heard before. It was in her voice, but it wasn't. It wasn't a song that I believe she produced. But there's very specific details, and these aren't details like, oh yeah, I was walking down the street. No, it's like I was walking down a cobblestone road. I had on 4-inch heels that were rhinestoned on the side. My jeans had a little tear in them. The lady next door had they're very detailed, and when you awake, you recall all of these instances. Lucid dreams, on the other hand, are dreams where you recognize that you are dreaming, and you could either wake up or you can continue to dream. Lucid dreams, epic dreams, I think those are the two, for me, in my experience, I would say those are the two cornerstones of how to manifest in waking life. If you can get to those levels of dreaming, you can manifest. But if you cannot get to those levels of dreaming, you can still manifest. You can manifest by listening to what the dreams are expressing. And I'll also share another way to manifest through dreaming. So with lucid dreaming, you recognize you're still asleep, but you recognize that you're asleep, and then you begin to script your dream. You begin to kind of see your way out. And I used to have like lucid dreams / nightmares that would turn into lucid dreams. Like I would have a dream where I was being chased and haunted and terrorized, and I realized, oh, this is just a dream. And I try to wake up, but I couldn't wake up. So then I would like imagine a cliff, and I would fall, and I would jump off the cliff, and I'd wake up. And I know there's some skepticism to say, like, is that the same? Is what the same as lucid dreaming? Is epic dreams the same as lucid dreams, Lauren? Okay, I'll wait for that. Yeah. So epic dreams and lucid dreams are not the same. Epic dreams are they're like cosmic because they contain a lot of symbols that aren't by our own design. So they can be, symbols like certain, you can recall like shapes, like maybe you saw a lot of circles, or maybe you saw a certain color, or maybe you heard a certain tone, or there were certain expressions or feelings that came across from that dream. That's very different because that's not something that you are creating. A lucid dream is something that you're creating. It's when you're asleep, you're knocked out, you realize, oh my God, I'm asleep, I'm knocked out, but this is fun. Let's fly a kite. Let's get in a hot air balloon. Let's, go pet this lion. Like that's where you, it's a very fine line, because when you're sleeping and you're dreaming, your dreaming states are in your light stages of sleep. So you're not heavy into like your deep wave of sleeping. So technically you could, I guess, have an epic dream with a lucid dream, but they're not necessarily the same. I hope that answers the question. And then the last type of dream that I stated I'm not I've read things about it, but I haven't read a lot about it, and that's daydreaming. And I feel like daydreaming is a lot closer to being in a meditative trance than actual like daydream, and it's somewhere between like wakeful sleep and sound sleep. And I would say daydreams are closer to lucid dreams than epic dreams are to lucid dreams, if that makes sense. Because with a daydream, you're so much more in a wakeful state, that you can possibly control what's going on, versus like an epic dream. You're in your sleep state, which is not, it's light, but it's not like super light. Whereas a daydream, it's kind of light. Okay, so also, I just want to say the ways to manifest through dream work is to cut off the conscious mind and to celebrate and promote the subconscious mind. So, learning how to interpret your dreams is going to be very critical in terms of using them for insights. There are two to three things that I feel are most important in terms of understanding like how to access your dreams. And I'm sorry, you all, if you hear the noise, that's just my children. They're on their way to bed. But they're just enjoying life right now. So I'm just gonna let them. The ways to understanding the interpretation of your dreams is to access your dreams and to allow your dreams to come through. Sometimes we don't want to dream because it's scary to dream, right? Sometimes recognizing that the last time I had a dream, I had a terrible nightmare, or I had a terrible vision, or I just had a terrible sensation. So we try to like wish it away, and we can, we can. Our words have so much power to them. And so if we speak something that we don't want just as much as we speak something that we do want, it can happen. And we oftentimes believe what we don't want more than what we do want, because it's easier to be in a negative state than it is in a positive state, because the brain, is always mostly in survival mode. But that's a different topic. So, the two things that you'll need to activate the insight for your subconscious as you're sleeping are water and a pen and paper. So, I guess there's three things. So, water, a pen or a pencil, and paper. And you want to sit this next to your bed as you're sleeping, or whatever your space of sleeping is. No judgment, because you want to be able to recognize quickly the themes. You want, even if it's a dream that's painful in some way emotionally, or if it's a dream that's happy, or if it's just like one or two things, you still want to be able to like get into the habit of jotting them down. And the themes can be like day versus night. Were there certain sounds? Were you in a certain location? What was the movement like, right? Were you running? Were you walking? Were you standing still? Were you being visited by people you haven't seen? Were there people that you knew? Were you outside? Was it a park? Was it a beach? Was it a building? Like you want to make sure that you're jotting down all the specific things, because this is how you get to the answers. Okay. One, if you are just getting used to having dreams and understanding and really wanting to know more about your dreams, I would take maybe like a week or two to really get comfortable with that dream state, right? So that means that prior to going to bed, having your activations occur for the conscious and the subconscious to transition. So change your clothes, maybe make your bed up, put on your bonnet, whatever the case may be, but get ready for bed. And then when you're in bed, you don't want to have like, and I know that sometimes we have TVs or our phones or things like that, but you really want to be conscious of that so that you are removing that as much as possible. I'm not saying you have to go take your beautiful TV off the wall or anything of that nature. If you're needing your phone, I'm not saying like throw it away or throw it out the room, but maybe put it on vibrate and put it on a desk, right? Or I mean, if you have it a sound, then just put it on a desk. With your TV, just make sure that you remove the remote or something like of that nature, so you're not tempted. Or even put a timer on it. I've known people to put timers on their phone, their TVs. So you want to ask yourself and quiet your wandering mind by just being an observer. Write down your gripes from the day. Don't try to understand the dilemma, just observe it. Today was a lot of snow and I was in the house and I wanted to be outside, but it was a lot of snow. Right? Like, and you don't want to necessarily go through how you felt about it or why you felt that way, or what you could have done differently, because that will just prolong the conscious mind in sitting at its place of consciousness, right? Which will then create more perception, which will then have the potential to create more stress. And you also, with this, want to use deep breathing to really focus on your rest and to allow for sleep. When you wake up, you want to track those things that are from your dreams in your waking state. And you want to do this for like a week or maybe 2 weeks. Some days you may only remember one thing, other days you may have full, some other days you may have nothing. But it's getting into the habit of tracking your dreams. Now, to manifest your dreams or to manifest answers through your dreams, you want to do a very similar process but be more specific. So for instance, once you're comfortable in interpreting your dreams and interpreting what's happening while you're sleeping, and you want to know the answer to something. So let's say, for instance, there's a dilemma that's happening. Maybe it's, do I choose this work? Do I choose this place? Do I choose this person? Do I choose me? Right? And being able, instead of writing down your gripes, you really want to close your eyes and vision your wants, right? Vision yourself traveling on a beautiful boat to a wonderful island, sipping great mimosas. I'm just saying. But what do you want? Is it a house? Is it a car? Is it a lover? Is it a friend? Is it a situation? Is it a place? Is it something that's even outside of for yourself? Is it for someone else? Is it to someone else? Is it visualizing peace for the world or peace for love? And observe it as if it were occurring, right? So observe it as if, observe it in real time, see it happening, see it coming to life, and then being able to, again, visualize it. You can even set a timer for like 5 to 10 minutes, and then taking deep breaths as you're visualizing being on a boat, seeing the water, smelling the ocean, feeling the, when you're on a smaller boat and it's kind of rocking and like the water waves are just lightly hitting your face. I'm just saying, right? Be as vivid as possible. And when you go to sleep, what you're telling your subconscious is, consciously, this is what I'm experiencing. I'm not experiencing the stress of my previous perceptions. I'm not experiencing the doubts and the no's and the negativities. So when you sleep, your subconscious is taking that baton and saying, oh, okay, now I have to figure out how to problem solve this. Well, if she wants to be on a boat, then let's figure out how to get her to a boat. If she wants to sip mimosas on somebody's island, let's figure out how to get her to this island, right? It's not problem solving the negative. It's not trying to undo some of the harsh perceptions of your day. It's actually seeing what you're seeing and it's creating it to be. Yes, Lauren, exactly. Like if you just ask, right? Like we have all of the tools that we need to manifest. We have all of the tools to activate our wellness. We just have to tap into it, and we have to trust that what we visualize is what we can actually see. And I'll repeat that. What we visualize is what we can actually see. And so if you're visualizing being down in the dumps and not having things go your way and, XYZ, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to be down in the dumps. You're not going to be able to see, and you're not going to get what you want. However, if you visualize and focus on those things that you believe to be true, if you believe that, you are healed, if you believe that you are loved, if you believe that you're a successful entrepreneur or whatever the case may be, guess what'll happen? You'll have it. You'll be that. And it doesn't have to be something big as like, I'm going to have $1 billion in 2 years. I mean, but it could be something as small as, I'm gonna have more motivation to call this person, and what'll happen is that person will call you, right? Just because you put that out there. And yes, I'm speaking in so many ways to the laws of attraction, but the laws of attraction work because what we put out, we receive in return. That's just the general law of give and take. When you walk, for those of us who are able, you put your right foot down, and then what happens? Your left foot comes up and that goes down, and then what happens? Your right foot goes up and that goes down. That's attraction. You're attracting balance every time you do something. If you walk, if you talk, if you believe, you can unbelieve, right? And so we want to attract those things that are well for us and that will guide us to our ultimate place of love and understanding. So, any other questions, you guys can feel free to leave them in the comments now, or you can head on over to welcomewell.net where you can subscribe to the website. You can also subscribe to this channel to receive updates. And I thank you all for being here. I'm so grateful in advance that this is taking off and it's assisting. Always feel free to share, to comment, to tell all your friends and your family members about this, and sending out positive vibes, high vibes. Be safe, everyone. And as always, be well. Bye-bye.